All right, so let's get straight into it. How did you become all peace, love, and light?
That's a great question. I got to the point where I am today with my journey of peace, love, and light, honestly, through a path of darkness. I I had a very rough beginning in my life. I suffered from mental illness. I was in a psych ward at one point in my life. I was molested. I had been physically abused, and I experienced a lot of dark times in my life. I was homeless, and I attempted to commit suicide. And actually, after I attempted to take my own life at 16 years old, I had an awakening. And long story short, my awakening led me here.
Wow. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. You just said a lot. I'm not even sure where to start. So before we get into all of that, let's start at the headscarves. Are you Muslim? Do you subscribe to a religion? What's the headscarves about?
I'm not Muslim, and I don't believe in any conventional concept of God. I do have a relationship with God. I love God. And everything I do is derived from a spiritual place. And more specific, when it comes to my head wraps, I do it for divinity. It makes me feel more sacred, more feminine, more beautiful. And honestly, I just feel like the world shouldn't have access to every part of me. So some things I keep for myself and I keep for my lovers.
Okay, speaking of lovers, I know a question that a lot of people want to know is, are you single? Are you talking to anybody? Like, what's talk about that a little bit.
I am not in a relationship. I'm not in a serious relationship. And I would consider myself single. I feel that we come into this life alone and we will live alone. And partners and people are meant to be experienced. They're meant to be changed. And it's okay to show interest in someone. It's okay to be even in love with someone. But if you don't feel as if though you want to spend your lifetime with a person, then you don't have to. So for me, I allow people to come into my life and I allow them to leave naturally.
Interesting. So how do you feel about modern day men?
Modern day men. Be more specific.
So it's a lot of talk about toxic masculinity and, it's a battle of the sexes going on. A lot of back and forth between men and women. What's your thoughts on that?
I believe that more specifically, I can only speak about, in my community, in the Black community. I'm not going to speak on something that I'm not a part of, and that's the community I am a part of. So when it comes to that, I feel that both genders are very wounded and both genders have their guards up. So now the man versus woman war, it is bigger and more toxic than it ever has been before because we don't find comfort within each other. I don't think that the modern day Black man finds comfort in the modern day Black woman, and I don't think the modern day Black woman finds comfort in the modern day Black man because of the guards and the way that we act these days because of societal conditioning.
What do you think is one of the biggest problems we face today as a collective? And what would a solution for it be?
One of the biggest problems we face as a collective today, I think, is our connection. We don't feel very connected to each other. I don't think a lot of people have friends. I don't think a lot of people even have family members. I don't see a lot of cousins hanging out anymore, or barbecues, or just family functions. I don't even see a lot of family reunions at the park and children's birthday parties and things like that. And even when I do see these type of gatherings, it's not as packed as it would be, when I was a little bit younger. I think a solution to that, honestly, would have to be making love and connection more easily accessible. I feel like it's easier for us to hate and be disconnected. One, because of social media, not because of the platforms itself, but because of the way we use it. We use it to really compare ourselves to each other and to separate ourselves from each other and to stunt and flex on each other. I don't think we use it to bring, ourselves together. I think that if we had more events, that are open to the public, shout out to the Circle of CEOs. They recently had an event called The Room, and it brought so many amazing Black people together, and it was so beautiful, because there's this myth that is out that you can't bring people together for positivity, but it can be done. It's just not done as often as it is. And when things are happening, people usually, charge, and so much, so it just makes it harder for everyone to have access to everyone. So yeah, I think we got to do more for our people.